Good Saturday morning, everyone. Today on Perspectives, we tackle the tough challenge of ending youth violence. The statistics are alarming and extremely concerning. Now, sadly, we in the media report it to you almost every week. Shootings, gun violence, stabbings, and homicides, all happening in our community. Now, many of the incidents involve our youth, boys and girls. Now, here are some of those statistics. 137 weapons charges in 2021, 33 more than in 2020. The law says that minors cannot have pistols, but 56 juveniles were charged with carrying a pistol in 2021, and that was 26 more than the year before. 2 juveniles under the age of 15 charged with murder last year. Now, that's the same number in the 5 years combined before. Now, this is what the governmental and community service organization leaders are now saying. The very children that we fail to serve are the very children who will come back and destroy our community. If not for humanitarian reasons, for self-preservation, we cannot fail these children. And they say that when we realize that the parent doesn't have the wherewithal and the child is unteachable, we need assistance immediately. And this one says, I can't tell you how many parents have come to me to discuss, I just don't know what to do with this child. And later, I find out the child is dead or incarcerated. Some officials and community leaders believe that because of so many factors, it's going to take a holistic, total community response to turn this train around, focusing on parental involvement, equipping them with the support they need to better help their children. Our guest this morning, Judge Edmund Naiman, Circuit Judge, Strickland Youth Center, Michael Dickel, Chief of Juvenile Probation, Strickland Youth Center, and John Humphrey, Juvenile Probation Supervisor, Strickland Youth Center. Now, supporting parents to help end youth violence this morning when Perspectives continues after this quick break. very special guest this morning, Judge Edmund Naiman from the Strickland Youth Center. He is our circuit judge for Mobile County. And along with him, our chief of probation, that's juvenile probation, from Mobile County's Strickland Youth Center, Chief Michael Deacle. We thank you both, gentlemen, for being here
so much for having us, Eric.
You know, this program came about today, a concern about what's happening with our community, with youth,
right,
and violence, guns, and other things that we've seen happen, where you even have somebody being held for murder charges when we talk about what's going on. And when we talked about this a few days ago, something came to mind to me that was shared a few years back on one of our programs by a top law enforcement officials at that time. And he said that looking at what has happened with the birth rate in Mobile County the past 10 years, so he was looking back a few years, that he figured by the time those juveniles became of age, we would have some serious problems as related to violence. And one of his concerns was the single family parent households, which is one of the stats that we'll be talking about this morning, as well as talking about the age of the parent. And so he foresaw some things that he was assuming may happen. And so today we're going to talk more about youth violence in the Mobile County area that you both are dealing with on a regular basis. Should we be concerned about what's going on right now?
Well, I think we should, Eric. And, you know, I always have, my point of reference is the years 2008 and 9, when we had 14 murders involving juveniles under the age of 16, probably around 70 robberies in the first degree, where a young man took a gun and robbed the property of another. It was very violent and very concerning, and it caused us to change the way we approach probation. It instituted the beginning of our gun court, and we really radically changed how we deal. And at the same time, we were working with truancy issues, and we were working in the schools real closely with the schools to make sure that families were getting what they needed to educate their children. And so as we started that new approach, we started seeing radical decreases in the amount of gun crimes. As of late, as of the last really couple of years, we've seen an increase in some violent gun crimes. A lot of guns on the street, a lot of children. But you know, even more importantly, you know, we're seeing children that are, you know, doing very, very poorly in school. You know, we have 2,000 kids right now in Mobile County that are not going to school and not working, and that is very concerning. And we've seen, you know, conversely, as we saw decreases in our criminal cases, we also saw increases in our dependency cases. So what do I mean by that? Almost double in a 10-year period. We've seen more children living in abusive and neglectful situations, not getting the things that they need to be, you know, to grow up to be, you know, safe and secure and adults. And so that's been, I think, my main concern.
So another time for, I guess, another program shift as you look at the programs to tackle the new numbers, the new incidents that are happening. Is COVID responsible for any of this?
I was just thinking the exact same thing, that, you know, if you parallel them, the timing of COVID, in which we had to shut down all of the resources, all of the activities that we had for these kids to hopefully keep them out of trouble, everything shut down. Well, obviously the kids and their energy didn't shut down at all, and so then they go out looking for something to do. And of course, if there's no discipline activity for them to do, then they've been getting in trouble. And I think that's what we're seeing.
I'm worried we lost a lot of them in school too. You know, with the technology, it was something new, and it was not necessarily equally available to everyone, just because of the, you know, a lot of times the conditions of the home, or the availability of the internet, and also just not having the teacher one-on-one with a lot of these children. I'm afraid that a lot of them did not participate in school during that period of time, and that's a problem.
That is a problem. And you're looking at roughly 106,000 kids in Mobile County when we talk about some of the stats. And of those, you share with me that 30,000 are living in poverty.
30,000.
16,000 in extreme poverty. And 6,000 are homeless.
Yeah, and that's just that. And
That is
again,
very unbelievable.
let me tell you something. You know, we always knew that when as we were working with children, we know that the biggest indicator that a child is going to commit a crime of violence is two things. One, that there's dysfunction in the family for whatever reason. I'll call dysfunction being homeless or drug addiction or mental health issues that are not being addressed. And two is school functioning. You know, if the child is doing poorly in school, it's almost a tremendous indicator that there's trouble later to come. And right now we have this sort of perfect storm of both of those issues, you know, really reaching high limits in our community. And I think that that's played a very big role in the problems we're facing right now. But it also gives us a clear vision of what we need to do, what we need to attack. And that's kind of why I was here today, is that, you know, we need this community. I know we're all concerned about what's going on in our community. We're worried about the rise in violence. It's still not at levels that we've had 10, 12 years before, but it's rising. And I think now is the perfect time to really focus all of our efforts to make sure that it doesn't get to that point.
Chief, what are you seeing when you're incarcerating some of the juveniles? Are you seeing a different type of individual than in years past?
There's probably, it's more behavioral. They don't have the coping skills. I think they get back there and they're quick to anger. They're quick to get into fights with other kids back there. We're just missing the coping skills. It's probably lack of socialization, again, because of what COVID did to us, where there's not activities where they could interact with other people, other adults, you know, responsible adults and things like that. And so, yes, I think we are seeing the fact that they've lost, or they just don't have the coping skills that we think they should be having.
And just the way we provide our services right now, it's been different. You know, it's been remote. It hasn't been, you know, person to person. And for some, they haven't been able to get, you know, to be able to avail themselves of the services. So yes, I mean, it's played a big role in our education, in the way we're dealing and interacting with families. So I'm really happy to hear that and to see that, you know, a lot of those restrictions are beginning to end now. And we're getting back to our normal routines. And
take about a minute and a half of this first segment here and talk about what we need from parents and the extended, I guess, extended families.
Absolutely.
To be a part of the solution.
Well, first of all, you know, we need a partnership with our parents, and we always reach out to them and tell them that we need it. But now more than ever, we do. And just a parent, you know, that may be listening to the show today, you know what's going on in your child's life. Know how they're projecting themselves on social media. Know how they're doing in school. You'd be surprised to know that many of our parents don't know. And if you know that they're doing poorly, you know, try to reach out to the teachers. And if you have trouble, you know, there are ways to get some other people that can intervene with you on you know, but try to figure out what's going on in their school. If you have issues in your home, there are agencies and programs in the Strickland Youth Center is one that they can call, and they'll have a number for that. You know, if you're having problems that you need help with, we're not here to take away children from families. We're here to keep families together and to get them running smoothly. If we can know what's going on in a child's life, who their friends are, what's in their home, know if there are guns in their home or anything unsafe, know who their children are with, and make sure that they're not out all hours of the night, because a lot of this happens, you know, in the late hours of the night when, you know, and they're associating with children that many parents don't even know who their children are associating with. Right. Know and become involved and take control of your children's lives. And there are services out there if you need that help, and avail yourself of them. We're here to help. We have so many other agencies that are willing to do that, and I think if they will do that, you know, things will be better.
Get on that road again. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more, and we'll also be joined by John Humphrey. He is the Juvenile Probation Supervisor at Strickland. And Chief Dickel, we thank you for sharing and providing input as we look at how to turn things around back to the way it should be going here in the community.
Thanks, Eric.
Perspectives continues in just a moment. back to Perspectives. Our guest this morning, Judge Edmund Naiman, along with joining us now, John Humphreys. And John, he is the juvenile, where did he go here, John? Probation supervisor at Strickland. Got too many things written down here for us. Let's talk about this whole aspect of equipping the parent to be the main part of the solution of what we're addressing here. How does that work with who you are partnering with to bring in other support issues?
John, you want to get that one? I will say that, we have a lot of individual groups that are willing and work with us. We have great collaborations with the school system, with DHR, with mental health, and we have been able to create some really good programs that we utilize in the court system that are, solely responsible to us. We have a program we call Transitions, which is an in-home mental health program and counseling and guidance program that has really done wonders for us and seen kids do fantastic. We have our truancy program that we do, and we have DHR involved, mental health involved. We have the Transitions program. We have relationships with the University of South Alabama and their counseling and psychology department. So we have a lot of services at our disposal, and usually the way we do it when we're dealing with families and children, they'll come in to us either on a criminal charge or on a truancy charge. We do assessments on those children to find out what their individual needs are, and then we get to work, getting the right services to that family. And that's what I'd like to offer to the general public. If you're worried about your child and you're not involved with the court system in any way, you can reach out to us, and we have programs that allow a parent, if they're having trouble with their child and they're worried about their child, but there are no criminal charges pending, we can get involved with them through our CHINS program, Child in Need of Supervision. So those children that are determined to be child in need of supervision, they're not criminal charges. They don't have any lasting impact on the child negatively, but it allows us to get the services, get the mental health services, physical health services, get education services, and get some supervision on that child at a time when it's really probably hot and there needs to be some supervision.
So there are resources out here available and agencies that you're partnering with to provide those things in the gap. And John, as you look at folks that you're working with, both the child and the families, how receptive are they to that right now?
Well, Eric, I mean, you have some parents that are very receptive. They want help, they need help, they realize they need help. And I think that a lot of times the parents that we deal with, they're overwhelmed. Because they may have a larger family. They don't have a lot of resources in the home, and that's where we can help as far as referring them to the proper agencies and get those resources into the home. And that in turn will help that parent feel more motivated and to do what's right for their child.
When you mentioned one of the points was the area of seeing how the child is performing in school as one of the indicators that lets you know something's going on here. Yeah. Are the school counselors or the some mechanism in the schools working with you to where they can provide that information so that somebody knows what's going on with some of the students who they consider maybe critical?
Absolutely, and they do a fantastic job. I know the school system has recently increased the number of social workers that they have in the system. I'd like to see many more. Obviously, I'd like to see a lot more resources, but they work really closely with families that are in crisis. Our truancy programs, that's where we get to see a family many times at its very earliest stages, and so we can get resources. They do share information about what's going on in the family, at which time we can look and try to create a system of services that will improve the education, but more importantly, and just as importantly, improve the functioning of the home. Where there are deficiencies, we can get DHR to help, not to take their children away, but to help provide services. DHR has 500 kids in care right now in Mobile County, and they could probably have another 1,000 or 2,000. But through everyone's work and the collaboration, we're able to keep those numbers as low as possible, because we're providing services. So my message to parents is, don't be scared and of these agencies that are trying to help you. Reach out to them when we reach out to you, because we can be the difference between life and death of your child and success or failure of your family.
And some of the things that lead sometimes to the injuries and deaths are the weapons that we're seeing now that the youth are. We'll be showing some pictures throughout the interview this morning of different scenes that people have been seeing on social media. John, how do we get these guns out of our communities?
Well, what we see a lot, Eric, is that you have break-ins to automobiles, for instance.
Unlocked vehicles.
A lot of them are unlocked, and so they're easily accessible. The guns are easily accessible to these kids, and so that's one of the things we'd like gun owners to really take precautions with their weapons. Let's lock our vehicles. Let's put those guns away. Too often you can even walk by and see one just looking through the window sometimes. And so it just makes it too easily accessible for these kids, and that's where they're getting a lot of these weapons that we see.
How do we change the mindset, this whole gun culture among youth? You know, it's not a hunting thing or something that they want to go and shoot at the range and the targets, but it has another meaning in the scheme of things here.
Really, you know, the scary part is that many of these children that are engaged in this type of activity, we've lost them in school, we've probably lost them in their homes. They don't really see that their life can be any better, and they don't really have hope for a long and lasting future. Most of them really truly believe that their life on earth is not going to be very long. And I think the way we can really ultimately change that mindset is, first of all, you provide consequences for the actions, you know, but at the same time you start, you know, giving them something, and you know, we need to show them this is a roadmap to a better life. You don't need to be engaged in drugs and guns and violence, that your life is better than that, and it can be better than that, and we've got to get them to believe that, and we've got to show them the way, you know. And how do you do that? Well, you do that through opportunities for kids, through work opportunities for kids, for education opportunities for kids, and through mentoring from other people that may have gone down that road at one time and have come out the other end, and they have really clear roadmaps that life is not hopeless. There are ways, but you got to get down and work, and somebody's got to walk with that child.
Right. And when you say all of that, we understand the key that parental involvement has got to be a part of helping. We've got about a minute left. Make that plea to the parents again who may be watching this morning or know someone who needs this type of assistance.
Just please, to the parents, know what's going on in your home and know who your children are hanging around with and who they're associating with. Be involved in their school. Be involved in their mental health. You know, if you don't quite know where to turn, ask them to come to the youth center. We come and call our number. We will look at your child holistically, and we will help with your child. We'll help you with the supervision, and we'll help you get services that they need. Let's not let your home be a place that is anything but uplifting and effective. And let's make sure that your children's education is everything that it possibly can be. And that would be what I would, more than anything, just know and get engaged with your child before it's too late.
That's right.
And there are a lot of parents in this community right now, unfortunately, that it is too late.
Well, we're going to have information throughout the program that we've been showing this morning of the agencies who are working with you so they get an idea, as well as their phone numbers. Of course, the phone numbers are called Strickland Youth Center to be on the front end of helping your child. John Humphrey, we thank you for being here this morning. Of course, Judge Edmund Naiman and Chief Michael Dickel, who joined us in the earlier segment. And we are prayerful that this information will be a beginning of some changes, positive changes in our youth community.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
And for more information and assistance, contact these agencies that you see listed here on the screen: the Strickland Youth Center, the Family Intervention Team, the Family Center, the Department of Human Resources, DHR, and the Boys and Girls Club of South Alabama. Now, there are also several mentorship programs that we've talked about this morning that you can contact: Nest of Mobile, 100 Black Men of Greater Mobile, and Big Brothers Big Sisters. Other agencies like the Mobile Career Center and Job Corps can help with job skills, and agencies like Goodwill Easter Seals and Excel Academy can help with your education needs. Information to help parents help their kids for a better situation. Well, please join us here next Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for Perspectives as we discuss and seek those solutions to some important issues. I'm Eric Reynolds. Have a great week ahead.
Thanks for watching Fox 10 News. Watch us live wherever you are on our mobile, our streaming news app, and you can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.